Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! Hi, this is not my story but a friend's. I will be telling it from his point of view. This is a long one, so stick with me. Our old cleaning lady quit a few weeks ago and she was great. She was one of the nicest people I've ever met. 2 weeks ago, our new cleaning lady started and she is super entitled. Here are the characters. The entitled mother, the cleaning lady, the entitled mother's kid, my mom, and the entitled mother's husband. The first day she started was Columbus Day, or Indigenous Peoples Day, depending on who you are. And due to schools being off that day, she brought her kid with her. She didn't ask my mom, but she was understanding. The entitled mother asked if I could hang out with the kid. I was fine with that as I had nothing else to do anyway. I went out of my room to go get something and I heard the entitled mother say, "Yes, baby, you may." This was followed by the kid running up the stairs happily and going into my room. I thought nothing about what the entitled mother said until I heard my Xbox turn on. I immediately went into my room and the entitled kid was on my Xbox opening Warzone. Keep in mind, the entitled kid was only about 8 or 9 from what I could tell. So Warzone was way too mature for him. This was the conversation the kid and I had. "Hey kid, could you please get off my Xbox?" "But my mom said I could." "Your mom may have said you could, but this is my Xbox. You would need to ask me too. If you had asked me, I might have said yes." "Oh, okay, sorry." "It's okay, just ask next time." That was that, it was over. The kid didn't whine and complain and sat down at my desk and did some homework he brought with him. But when the entitled mother came up to clean my room, she was not amused. And the following conversation took place. "Hey baby, why aren't you playing on the Xbox?" "OP said I couldn't play on it because I didn't ask him." "OP, how dare you boss around my child?" "Well, this is my Xbox and he also needs to ask me before he can use it. If he had asked me, I would have let him." Also, he was opening up Call of Duty. "Call of Duty? Why do you have mature games on your Xbox? This is unacceptable. I am telling your mother about this and do not think this will go unpunished." Go right ahead. She left the room after that. The kid, who turned out to be not entitled after all, said, "Sorry, she can be a pain in the booty sometimes." It's okay. All I could think was, no 8-year-old should have to apologize for their mother's behavior. About 10 minutes later, the entitled mother came back into my room. "Your mother says you have to give me your Xbox now. It's his from now on." "Oh really? I don't believe you. I'm not giving you anything." "Mom, I don't want his Xbox. Don't take it." "No, we're taking it home with us. Remind me to come back up here for it." "Okay." The entitled mother leaves, and when she's out of earshot, the kid says, "I won't remind her. Her memory is really bad anyways." The rest of the day goes on without any issues, and the entitled mother and kid leave. As soon as they left, I went downstairs to tell my mom what happened. Then I got her side of the story. Apparently, the entitled mother told her that I cussed her out and was bullying her son, which was total nonsense. I told her what really happened and she took my side of the story as fact. While she wasn't mad at me about how I handled it, she was mad at me for having mature games like Call of Duty. I'm 15 by the way. She also commented that she never said that she could have my Xbox. She commended me for how I handled it, considering I'm usually not good with confrontations. Despite what happened, my mom decided to give the entitled mother one more chance, and that we would let her come next week. Fast forward to next week and I'm nervous all day long at school, as there was nobody home except my cat, which meant that the entitled mother was cleaning the house alone. She's gone by the time my mom and I get home. The first thing I did when I got home was go and check out my room. And sure enough, my Xbox was gone. But so was my monitor. At this point, I was super mad and I was done with this lady's nonsense. I told my mom, who called her, and she said she had no idea what we were talking about. She accused us of trying to frame her and defamation of character. We laughed her into oblivion and called her out on her nonsense, and we explained the evidence to her. She was silent for a few seconds before hanging up. The next day, while we were eating dinner, the doorbell rang, and when we went to see who it was a man holding an Xbox that exactly resembled mine. We opened the door and asked what this was about. He introduced himself as the entitled mother's husband, and that he had my Xbox with him. He said the cords and monitor were in his car. He went and got all of the items that were stolen. After he gave the stolen items back to us, he explained what happened afterward. Apparently, he had inquired the entitled mother about the Xbox and monitor, and she said that it was a gift for her kid for being such a good boy. The fact that he saw the cord still plugged in and the Xbox out of the box made him suspicious. Then later that evening, the kid came to him and told him what had happened the week before. The husband put two and two together, and when she was out cleaning another house, he went and got everything and brought it to us. He then said he had to hurry home before she got there first and discovered what happened. After he left, my mom called the entitled mother and she fired her. And with that, we thought it was over. That is until yesterday when the police showed up at our door. They said that there was a report of stolen property at this address. Yep, the entitled mother actually called the police to get the stuff she stole back. We told them the entire story and they were very angry that the entitled mother had made them waste their time, but thanked us anyway, and we're going by her house to have a stern word with her. And just when we thought that was it, we got court letters in the mail. The entitled mother was suing us for stolen property, defamation of character, and verbal abuse. Yes, she was still standing behind the nonsense story she told my mom. The amount of money? $11,000, and her property back. We began gearing up for a big court fight with her knowing she would stop at nothing to get the stuff she stole back. I will be posting an update when my friend lets me know. Okay, update. My friend finally got back to me, and the original dates that he said the court date was gonna be weren't actually the court date. He didn't know what the date meant until the day after. He was home alone when this happened, and I will now switch to his point of view. I was home alone when this happened. It's the day after the date on a note. Neither me nor my parents knew what the date was or what it meant. I was just sitting in my living room eating a snack when there was a loud knock at the door. I went to see who it was, and of course it was the entitled mother. I went and opened the door, and the conversation we had went something like this. Can I help you? Where is it? Where is what? The Xbox and the money. Why? Your deadline to give it to me was yesterday. So that's what the date on a note was? Yeah, so give it to me now. No. What makes you think I'm gonna give it to you now? Because I said so. Yeah, come up with a better excuse. Bye, see you in court. I tried to close the door, but the entitled mother grabbed me and stopped me. What do you think you're doing? You're not going anywhere until you get me my money and my son's Xbox. Oh, really? Well, you're not going anywhere either. First of all, my mom fired you, so you aren't even allowed to be here. Given that, I'm gonna have to call the police for trespassing. Second of all, you have no authority over me, and I will not be getting anything from you. Goodbye, and have a nice day. I quickly slammed the door and went to call the police, all the while the entitled mother is banging and throwing herself against the door, screaming and crying. Unfortunately, she left before the police got to my house. Stupidly, I didn't look at what car she was driving or try to catch her plates as she drove off. I don't understand how delusional you have to be to try and force people to give you things you don't even own. Screw you, entitled mother. Just screw you. Update number 2. Hey guys, I have great news. The civil hearing is today. I seriously can't wait to get the story from my friend. Hopefully posted tomorrow or the day after. We don't know when the criminal trial is, remember theft on her part, and the entitled mother is currently in jail awaiting the hearings and trials. I asked my friend if he has a story on that. Hang tight. Update number 3. Well, my friend sent me the story about the civil hearing, and oh my god, this is absolute gold, I swear. Here we go from my friend's point of view once again. So, the trial was today, and oh boy, it was crazy. Let's start from the beginning. We went to the courthouse and took our seats. Once everyone was settled in, they brought in the entitled mother, who was in full prison dress and handcuffs, escorted by 2 police officers. Based on that, she must have been a huge pain to the justice system, which was not hard to believe. Then, the judge came in, introduced the case to the jury, and off we went. The entitled mother's lawyer started off with her opening statement, going on for a solid 25 minutes about her being so innocent of anything, her life story and blah blah blah. You could tell her lawyer knew in his eyes that he was going to lose horribly. And could you blame him? He was one of the top lawyers in the city, so a waste of time like this was really pissing him off, you could tell. After that, our attorney made about a 5-minute statement that made it very clear that we were going to win. The entitled mother was also constantly interrupting us and yelling and screaming about how we were lying, and had all of her objections overruled. This went on all throughout the case, and when the jury came back with their verdict, they had unanimously decided we didn't have to give her anything. Then came the entitled mother's punishment, repayment of her salary to us, paying the total retail cost of all the items she stole from us, and all of our court fees in this hearing and the upcoming criminal trial. All in all, this totaled close to $15,000. This'll be it for now. I'll keep you posted regarding any more updates. So this happened to me a few years ago and I just wanted to share it here. And it's a long one. Senior year of high school, I was taking a plane to visit my grandma. The flight went from Baltimore to Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh to Vegas, then Vegas to Boise. The flight from Baltimore was almost empty, and since I was on Southwest, I could choose my own seat. I was on the same plane until Vegas. I selected the last row of the plane by the window, put my earbuds in, and took a nap until Pittsburgh. When the plane landed, I went to the bathroom while people were getting onto the plane. To save my spot, I left my backpack in my seat, put my jacket on the seat, and I left. When I got back, I noticed that a pregnant lady was sitting in my seat with her husband in the aisle seat, and my jacket thrown on the ground in the aisle with my backpack underneath, containing a laptop. Kind of annoyed, I pointed out that I was previously sitting in the window seat and wanted to know if I could have my seat back. "Can't you see that I'm pregnant and need this seat?" she said aggressively. Then I looked at the husband and asked if he could please scoot over and sit next to his wife. This guy looked me in the eyes and said, "Sorry, but we aren't allowed to choose our own seats," and I chose the aisle seat. Being a high school senior, I wasn't that big of a guy, but I was still not happy to be sitting in the center seat. Realizing that this was a losing argument and I wasn't going to get any leverage over this lady, I decided to grit my teeth and bear it. I collected my stuff and moved into the middle seat. The second I sat down, the lady said, "You can't have your backpack in your seat. You're going to have to find a place to put it." "I'm just going to put it under my seat," I responded. "Where am I going to put my feet then?" She responded. "I don't know, not under my seat," I replied. Growing up, I swore more than most people and really only watched what I said when at school. Suddenly, I felt someone grab my collar. The husband pulled me inches from his face and said, "Don't use that language to my wife or the baby. You will say you're sorry." I was shocked. Not only was this guy grabbing me in public, but at the time I was only 17 and still considered a minor. Not wanting to make a deal out of this, I gave the most half-assed "I'm sorry" to the woman and put my earbuds in as the flight was getting ready to take off. While taxiing, the lady kept trying to get my attention by yelling in my ear and snapping her fingers inches in front of my face, before she finally pulled my earbuds out. "You need to turn your electronic off during takeoff," she said that. Now, my dad was a pilot for 30 years, and he confirmed that electronics do not really interfere with communications. It's mostly a formality so that people pay attention to the emergency instructions. So I ignored her since we are literally less than a minute from taking off. In rage, she spammed the flight attendant button so that one would come. We also had to hold takeoff until this issue was solved. The flight attendant runs over and asks what is wrong, expecting an emergency. He won't turn off his electronics before flight. He's trying to kill us, she exclaims, realizing everyone is staring at us when the flight attendant asks me to turn it off. I obliged. After I turn it off, she starts to lecture me about how she was right and I was wrong, rapping how the flight attendant proved her right. So the flight is in the air, and when the intercom tells me we can use electronics, I put my earbuds in and crank it. About 5 minutes into the flight, I felt aggravated tapping on my shoulder. I turn and look at the woman. "You need to turn that down. It's bad for the baby," she said. While I was listening to the music louder than normal, it still wasn't to the point that an unborn baby will be able to hear and understand. Shocked, I responded with no, but the second she reached for the flight attendant button, I said that I would. I did that trick where you turn your volume down 2 times and then up once so that it looks like you turned it down 3 times. "Better?" I asked. "More," she responded. So I went down 1 more. And before I could put my earbuds in, she said, "It's proper etiquette to talk to people you're sitting next to." I just ignored her at this point. I sat back and tried to close my eyes, and amazingly this worked. I fell asleep for about an hour. It was a 5-hour flight. And when I woke up, this woman had her foot on my backpack with a laptop in it. So I adjusted my foot so that it would be uncomfortable for her to continue to keep her feet the way they are. She immediately stood up, and I thought she was going to yell given her ability to overreact. But it turns out, she was just getting up to go to the bathroom. She gets past me and her husband when a brilliant idea pops into my head. The second she steps into the bathroom, I get ready to get up and move my stuff over to the window seat. As I grab my backpack and shift my momentum over, I feel a hand grab me. I did not take into account the husband. "You're not taking my wife's seat," he said that. "Sir, I have to warn you that you're grabbing a minor. And if I feel like it at any second, I could cry that you're attacking me." I respond as he lets go, and I move over to the seat I had before. When she gets back, she's furious, demanding that I move seats now to the point that the flight attendant comes over to see what is going on. And this time she sides with me. When she asks her husband to make me move, I look him dead in the eyes, and he goes back to reading his book. And she sits in the middle seat, pissed as hell. Thankfully, I moved seats because she was up and down in her seat, having to go to the bathroom every 15 minutes. And that was pretty much the rest of the flight. Except how she intercepted my bag of pretzels when a drink cart came. I responded by closing the shade to the window as we started to land at the Las Vegas airport. Once off the plane, I went to Burger to get a drink and some food. Then I got to my next gate and found the last seat. I scarfed down my fries and burger, walked across the hall, literally 10 feet from my seat to throw away my garbage. And when I turned to go back to my seat, I see the same lady now sitting in my seat I had my bag in. She had moved it to the floor right in front of her. Then she shot me this smug grin, thinking she had won. Somewhat defeated by losing 2 seats to this lady, losing sleep and my patience, it was time for action. I walked over to her to gather my things, and as I got to her, I looked her dead in the eyes, raised my right hand out, fingers spread, and hovered it right over her stomach. Looked down at my hand, then back to her eyes. "I just cursed your baby," I say straight-faced, turn around 180, walk across the hall, and sit down on the floor, staring at her intensely. Now, I think I have the ability to place a curse. This lady believed it. Her face was left expressionless, and she just started weeping to herself as I sat and watched. When her husband came over to see what was wrong and she told him, he instantly stormed over to me and knocked the drink out of my hand, grabbed me by the collar and got right in my face. "Listen here, you little jerk." He got out before security guards grabbed the man and detained him. The FAA doesn't mess around with who they hire. One guard asked me why this guy was so angry, and I said that his wife had taken my seat and I made a comment under my breath and he got upset with it. The officer asked for my name and identification and saw that I was a minor. He asked if I wanted to press charges and I told him yes, but that I also didn't want to miss my flight. He understood and let me go. Then he informed me that the Southwest airline gate attendant to please keep track of me in case we needed more information. This meant that I got to get on early and I chose the first seat I could. Aisle seat, the seat of this lady, will get on a plane. Since she was sitting in the same gate as my flight, she never got on the plane and it took off. Halfway through the flight attendant asked me if I put a curse on a baby and I responded with, I don't know, magic. 20 minutes later, the flight attendant told me that they missed their flight and they would have to buy a new ticket to their final destination with another airline. With 5 words, I cost this horrible woman and her abusive husband around $500.
And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.